At this time, we will call the 7 o'clock monthly Union County Board of Education meeting to order. If you would please stand with us as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is the approval of the agenda. Due to Dr. Rayfield's absence for this meeting, he and I had a discussion. We would like to remove executive session from this 7 o'clock meeting. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with that one removal of the executive session.
Make that motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. And it carries. If you look at the next item, we have the approval of the minutes. Those have been published for your review, as well as emailed to you, I believe. Ms. Akins, did you get those?
I did via email. I don't see them on the agenda though. Okay.
Any questions regarding the minutes? This time, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Make the motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? One abstain. You know, at the December meeting, we had the opportunity to recognize Gary Davenport for his 20 years of service. And when he was addressing those of us in attendance, one of the things he talked about was what an honor it was that his daughter, Jana Akins, would be able to take his role. So Jana, on behalf of the Board of Education, Union County Schools, and Dr. Rayfield, welcome.
Thank you.
One of the items that we do every 2 years, in the odd years, 2017 of course being an odd year, is the election of the chairperson. At this time, I'll open the floor for a motion of a chairperson.
I make a motion for Cindy Byers to be the chair.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, one abstain. Ms. Odom, congratulations on being the chairperson. The meeting is now yours.
Okay, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the election of the vice chair. Open the floor for anyone to nominate for someone for vice chair, and I'll make the motion to nominate Patrick White.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Okay, I'll call for the vote to nominate, for us to vote Patrick White as vice chair. If you'll raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, so we're moving right along. Next is the approval of the 2017-18 school calendar for Blairsville and Woody Gap.
Yeah, we made some copies over there for anybody interested from the Blairsville calendar. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, this is the third year, with our school governance teams, part of the process we did was we ran it through the principals and we ran it through each school governance team. The principals are here with us tonight in case you have any questions for them. So what we do is when we send it out, we give them some sample calendars, and it's not that they have to pick one of those, but just to give them ideas on a possible start date, possible end date, where fall break would be. So what you have before you are 2 calendars, one for Blairsville, one for Woody Gap. The only difference being when the parent conference day occurs during the first semester. For Blairsville, it does coincide with that last Monday in September. For Woody Gap, it coincides with the Monday after Indian Summer Festival. That allows them to take care of what they need to over the weekend and have parent conferences afterwards. You will notice the first day of school for students would be Friday, August the 4th. It'll be 4 days of pre-planning. You have your typical days in there that we observe of Labor Day and so forth. Fall break is the full week of the 16th through the 20th in October. One discussion that came up this year, especially with the calendars that got sent to us, was about Christmas. Part of the reason we do this in January is to get feedback over that Christmas break of how it went. A lot of the consensus was that it was very short, especially the fact that our last day was a Monday, so Christmas came on that Sunday, which was very early. So we took it to the group. We convened basically 3 members from each school as a calendar committee last week, and we said, what's your preference? If there was a split group, we were going to send it out for vote for faculty and staff. There wasn't. It was unanimous in there that everybody said, We want to get off the 2 Fridays before, which I believe that Friday is the 15th, and that 18th is that Monday. So students will be returning then on the 3rd of January. There is still a 4-day weekend around President's Day. In February, it's a teacher work day on a Friday and a holiday on President's Day in February. In March, there's a teacher work day, and those are typically, of course, possible makeup days for inclement weather. The last day of school is May 25th. We come back the day after Memorial Day for 2 days of post-planning. There's a long-standing rule with State Board of Education, or a rule that says if you start on a Friday and end on a Friday, there's up to 4 forgiveness days. So by starting on a Friday and ending on a Friday, Dr. Rayfield can forgive, with the board's permission, up to 4 days because of inclement weather, catastrophic events, things like that. So this calendar allows us to do that. It was very impressive. With this being the 3rd year of the calendars, there were very small discrepancies between the schools. 4 of the 5 schools had the start day of the 4th. Some had the 31st for a teacher work day, some had the 1st. But when we all got together, we found the commonalities. If there were 4 out of 5 schools that said it, we went with it. And then all we really discussed in that calendar committee meeting was Christmas and how Christmas impacts the rest of the calendar. One thing we always try to do is keep it close to 90 and 90. One of the challenges of that is with the high school being block schedule, trying to keep it fair. But we've also seen over time, if we're going to get some inclement weather, it's going to be second semester. So if there are going to be fewer days, you know you're going to get, in this case, 86 quality instructional days first semester, which allows then 94 second semester. So if we do have snow days, you're still looking at an equivalent number of days for instruction there.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on the calendar?
So the block scheduling at the high school does not require then the 90 days before Christmas and 90 days after. That's just a,
It's kind of a, yeah, the biggest thing behind that is the testing window. The testing window for the high school does go into January, about 1 week. Mr. Murphy, is that correct? But then at the end of the year, it actually does go into June. So there's the ability to shift those days a little bit one way or the other. In the past, sometimes it's been very firm on the number of days. One of the things that we have going for us is high school is supposed to have 330 minutes a day of instruction. Ours have 360 minutes a day of instruction. So that's 30 extra minutes a day that allows us some maneuvering of those days if needed.
Okay, any other questions? Then I make a motion, we approve the 2017-18 school calendar.
I'll make the motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the financial report for November 2016.
You have before you the financials for November. Ms. Dunkey's done a great job of putting that together and showing you a few of the items to report on. Number one is that there were some renovations done to the alternative school building, and because we share that with Mountain Education Charter School, they have given us some funds to help pay for those renovations at that building. You'll also notice that Pioneer RESA, there's an annual fee that we pay to them to be a member, and a large part of that, or most of that, comes out at the beginning of the school year. And then you'll notice that some of the items, in particular, school food services, are slightly over at this point in the school year due to that 3% payout that was done in October.
Looks like on the collections, we are up from last year.
Yeah, we are up 12,000 from last year and 40,000 from the same month 2 years ago. One of the things you may note on the revenue side, the local, state, or local revenue, that first line item there, may seem a bit low, but a large portion of that comes in December. And so it's going to be about $5 million around that number when we see the December financials.
Does anyone have any other questions? Then I'll call for the motion to approve the financial report for November 2016.
Make a motion, we accept the financial report for November 2016.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. Since executive session was removed, we have the personnel recommendations. Everyone received the list along with the resumes. Does anyone have any questions, or can we take these all together, or does anyone want to take them separate?
I'll take them all together.
Okay.
Sure.
Everybody okay? Okay, I call for a motion to accept the new hires, the approved positions, and also the additional responsibilities on the personnel recommendations.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor? Okay. Jump back. Well, that ends our January meeting, and I call that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion we adjourn. I'll second.
All in favor?